question. If I stab someone to death, whose fault is it? Guess at home and we'll reveal the answer shortly. Stay tuned. Trick question, it was video games! So as you can probably guess by now, I'm here to talk about what Donald Trump recently said. Let's take a look at it and see how true it is. Who knows, maybe it does hold up. I'm sure it's gonna be a great idea. But before we look at his latest speech, I wanted to look at him blaming video games for violence a couple years ago. Not because I watched the wrong video on accident and didn't want the footage to go to waste. What? Okay, let's just get this over with.
A lot of bad things are happening to young kids and young minds, and their minds are being formed. And we have to do something about maybe what they're seeing and how they're seeing it, and also video games. I'm hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts.
Oh my god, this explains so much! Anyone who's ever killed another human being was a gamer! Jack the Ripper was just busy playing Pokemon in one hand as he was stabbing the prostitutes with the other. Oh my god, Donald Trump, he's just reached a whole new level of existence. He's fully enlightened, the Dalai Lama can't even compare to him. Such wisdom. And some people, they like to try and say that Donald Trump is stupid. They try and make fun of him by being sarcastic, and they make YouTube videos about it. It's disgusting. He's such a genius. I mean, just listen to how he starts this sentence.
A lot of bad things are happening to young kids and young minds, and their minds are being formed. And then you go the further step, and that's the movies. You see these movies, they're so violent.
Oh my god, Donald Trump is so right here. If a kid sees Avengers Endgame, that's not teaching them to be a hero. It's telling them, kill people. Just kill them. Now kids are gonna start trying to collect the Infinity Stones so they can turn us all to dust. Oh my god, what have you done, Marvel? You've done this all!
The fact is that you are having movies come out that are so violent with the killing and everything else that maybe that's another thing we're gonna have to discuss. And a lot of people are saying it. You have these movies today where you can go and have a child see the movie, and yet it's so violent and so disgusting.
That's right. So many people are saying that, oh my god. And if enough people say something, that makes it true. So I guess there really are African gangs all over New South Wales with Sudanese people trying to kill me at every corner. Jeez, oh my god, the media was so right about that. They definitely didn't lie and make it up. Donald Trump, you're so true. We need to ban Fortnite. We need to destroy it. Actually, something I find pretty interesting about this is how quickly the media shut him down for blaming video games for violence. But not so long ago, those exact same news stations were talking about how Fortnite was going to make your kid a mass murderer and how them dancing is the worst thing ever.
One mass shooting has followed another, over and over again, decade after decade. We must seek real bipartisan solutions. We have to do that in a bipartisan manner that will truly make America safer.
Yes, because Make America Safe Again was Donald Trump's slogan. Everyone knows so, everyone says so. And if everyone says so, then everyone is right.
First, we must do a better job of identifying and acting on early warning signs.
Here's the thing, there are no early warning signs, okay? It's not like people start going out and practice shooting people before they can go do a massacre. There's not always a criminal record on that person. And even if there was, you can't say, hey, we're picking up on some early warning signs that you definitely might maybe sometime try and kill people in the future at some point. So we're just going to have to arrest you even though you clearly haven't committed any crime yet. That's not justice.
I am directing the Department of Justice to work in partnership with local, state, and federal agencies, as well as social media companies, to develop tools that can detect mass shooters before they strike. As an example, the monster in the Parkland High School in Florida.
Wait, Donald Trump giving an example in one of his speeches? Oh my god, he's like never done this. Let's see what it is.
Had many red flags against him, and yet nobody took decisive action.
Red flags? That's the best you could do? That's no detail! You said, for example, and then listed nothing. You've just said something that might have been there. You haven't even defined what you mean by red flag. That's such an open term. It could mean practically anything. Okay, let's try and give Donald Trump a chance here. Let's say that he definitely meant there were signs that they were going to kill someone, okay? Why doesn't he explain what any of those signs are?
Second, we must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games. It is too easy today for troubled youth to surround themselves with a culture that celebrates violence.
Maybe the reason why it's so easy for a youth to surround themselves with a culture celebrating violence isn't because video games are around them, but because guns are around them! Even if I slaughter an entire village in Skyrim, which of course I've done, that's how you play the game, and as a result I turn into a bloodthirsty killer, I won't be able to kill many people if I don't have access to guns. That's why massacres are so goddamn common in America, and still nothing is being done, because he's looking the culprit right in the face and saying, it was actually you!
We must stop or substantially reduce this, and it has to begin immediately. Cultural change is hard, but each of us can choose to build a culture that celebrates the inherent worth and dignity of every human life.
Video games don't take away the value of life. They teach you the value of life. He's saying, oh, video games, they teach you can just kill people. But in a video game, you never kill an actual human being. You kill ones and zeros. And here's the thing, yes, I have killed people, like a lot in video games. But that's because it's a video game. Doesn't mean I'd do the same thing in real life. It's because I'd never do it in real life that I want to at least know what it's like to do in a video game. When I first played Skyrim, of course I stabbed a child in the face. I wanted to see what it could do. And if something bad happened, all I'd have to do is load a previous save file and I'm good. But in real life, you can't do that. Video games teach you that you need to make sure you don't make bad decisions in real life, because it shows you what happens when you do.
Third, we must reform our mental health laws to better identify mentally disturbed individuals who may commit acts of violence.
Here's another point he makes, that it's mentally disturbed individuals causing these massacres. But here's the thing, only 1 in 3 masochists— wait a second. A masochist is someone who doesn't perform a massacre, it's someone who enjoys pain. But the data shows that only 1 out of 3 people performing a gun massacre have some sort of mental illness, or show signs of a mental illness prior to the massacre. Everyone else just seems pretty normal. But there is one thing that a lot of them share: issues with women. So many of these people performing gun massacres have bad relationships with the women in their lives. Wait a second. That doesn't mean it's a video gamer most likely to cause a gun massacre. It means it's someone who disrespects women.
There was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
She's a disgusting pig, right?
I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And you see these incredible looking women. As the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that. Putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
They said, how are you going to change the pageant? I said, I'm going to get the bathing suits to be smaller and the heels to be higher.
But the look obviously matters. Like you wouldn't have your job if you weren't beautiful.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Grab him by the...
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
It seems to me that he knew most mass shooters are misogynists and chose to blame video games and mental illness so no one could blame him for encouraging sexism. I mean, think about it. If he just came out and said, it's men who disrespect and abuse women who are most likely to become gun masochists. Thank you very much. We need to do something about this because I, Donald Trump, Mr. President, respect women. Everyone would blame him for encouraging sexism. But by blaming video games and mental illness, something he is in no way associated with, he could easily shift blame away from himself. It seems to me that he might actually be self-aware enough to know— wait a second, did I actually just say Donald Trump may actually be aware of his own actions? Okay, never mind, this whole thing is scrapped. He's just being an idiot, I don't even know why.
And make sure those people not only get treatment, but when necessary, involuntary confinement.
So basically, he wants to try and find people likely to commit murder and lock them up before they commit murder? That's kind of hard. You can't just say someone's guilty of something they haven't even done yet, but hang on. If you can, couldn't you argue that since Donald Trump is so sexist, you could argue that he is most likely to commit a gun massacre? Guys! We gotta lock him up in solitary confinement! That's the best thing for it, right? I mean, he's obviously an occupational hazard to everyone in America. Let's just move him over to Cuba, or send him to Mexico. I'm sure they'll welcome him there with open arms. Thank you everyone, and goodbye. See you next time.
Mental illness and hatred pulls the trigger, not the gun.
That's right, everyone. If someone kills someone else, it's not the murderer's fault. It's not even the weapon's fault. It's the fault of video games and mental illness. You've heard it here first, everyone. Stay away from video games and that mental illness, and keep guns around. They're the only thing that'll keep you safe.
Fourth, we must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety do not have access to firearms, and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process.
But you just said that they won't have access to firearms, but now you're saying, oh, but if they do, because we don't do our jobs, we'll definitely, maybe, try and take that weapon off them before they can kill anyone. Imagine if you're on a date and someone says to you, I promise you, baby, I would never cheat on you. Oh, but if I did, sorry. What sort of a promise or commitment is that?
I am open and ready to listen and discuss all ideas that will actually work and make a very big difference.
Here's something that actually works and makes a big difference. Gun control! If no one has a gun, no one can kill each other. Here's the thing. Killing another human being used to be difficult. You used to have to know how to use a weapon, like a sword, or even a musket, which takes time to reload and is really difficult to aim, not to mention how heavy they are. It's pretty hard for just an ordinary human being to be able to use one to kill another. But guns are completely different. With a normal handgun, a 3-year-old could actually shoot its mother just thinking that the gun's a toy, which actually happened!
Okay, so I just did a quick Google search to fact check myself, and I found multiple cases of this happening. So here we have a 2-year-old who shot their own mother, here we have a 3-year-old who found a gun and fatally shot themselves, and here we have a 3-year-old girl accidentally shooting their pregnant mother in the backseat of a car.
When will you learn, America? Guns don't keep people safe, they keep them in danger. Take Australia, for instance. Ever since introducing gun control, we haven't had a single massacre in Australia. And that's in over 20 years. And now you might say, hang on, well for all we know, you only had a gun massacre 1 in every 20 years before you introduced gun law. But we didn't. We had one almost just as frequently as America does now. The answer is obvious. What is holding America back? That's a topic for another video, because I'm pretty sure the answer to that question is the NRA, which actually tries to interfere with Australian politics too. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Goodbye everyone, and have a lovely day. And remember, stay away from video games and that mental illness. And keep guns around, they're the only thing that'll keep you safe. Son? What are you doing over there? Oh, hey Dad. I was just playing Pokemon. Pokemon? That's a video game. Hang on. No son of mine's becoming a mass murderer. I'll be taking that. Here, you can take this. Oh hey, didn't see you there. It's the end of the video. I guess that means I'm going to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. Because obviously anyone who uses YouTube doesn't have object permanence. So remember to do all those things I told you. Okay, I'm gonna be realistic here. If you're watching this, you know what a subscribe button is. I'm not gonna tell you to hit it just because you've seen one of my videos, okay? In fact, I actually want to do an experiment. What if I actually told you guys to unsubscribe? That's right, unsubscribe, dislike, delete your comments, and I'll see you never. Goodbye.